I heard a wonderful story, and I think this is in a Max Lucado book. In fact, it is in A Gentle Thunder. And it was about a man who came back to the church that Max Lucado pastors in San Antonio and shared with them his trip to Disney World. And he said, while we were in Disney World, we went to Cinderella's castle, which I got a picture of that up there. And they were inside Cinderella's castle, and it was packed with all these kids. He said, suddenly, if it had been a boat, it would have turned over because every child ran to one side of that castle. And he looked over there and he saw, as the kids' commotion, as they went that way, he looked over there and he saw what you'd expect to see. Cinderella had entered her castle. She walked in and she looked just like you'd expect Cinderella to look like. He said she was perfectly typecast. She was a gorgeous young girl with each hair in place, flawless skin, a beaming smile. And there she stood waist deep in this sea of children who were reaching for, just wanting to reach out and touch Cinderella, who had just walked in. Well, as he was watching all these kids around Cinderella, he was drawn back to the side of the castle which they had left. And as he looked back over there, he saw that it was vacant, except for one little boy who was 7 or 8 years of age. And he was over there and he was holding the hands of an older brother. As he looked at the boy, he said it was hard to determine his age because of a disfigurement of his body. He was dwarfed in height, his face was deformed, and he just stood watching quietly as all these kids clamored around Cinderella. And then he asked this question. He says, don't you know what he wanted? He wanted to be with the children. He longed to be in the middle of the kids reaching for Cinderella and calling her name. But can you feel his fear? Fear of yet another rejection. Fear of being taunted again, mocked again. Don't you wish that Cinderella would go to him? He goes on to say, guess what? She did. She noticed the little boy. She immediately began walking in his direction. Politely but firmly inching through the crowd of children, she finally broke free. She walked quickly across the floor, knelt at eye level with the stunned little boy, and placed a kiss on his face. Here you have this princess of Cinderella's castle. There's a greater story. I mean, that story touches our heart, but there's a greater story. And that's the Prince of Peace who left heaven, saw us in our disfigurement, and he broke free, came to us. You know, Cinderella, as much as she did on this day, this young girl, she walked away taking all of her beauty with her, leaving this boy totally in his disfigurement. But you know, when Jesus Christ came, he did more than Cinderella. Cinderella only gave a kiss. When she stood to leave, she took her beauty with her. The boy was still deformed. What if Cinderella had done what Jesus did? What if she'd assumed his state? What if she had somehow given him her beauty and taken on his disfigurement? That's what Jesus Christ did. That Jesus Christ took our suffering. He felt our pain. He was wounded for the wrong that we did. He was crushed for the evil that we did. The punishment which made us well was given to him, and we are healed. That Jesus Christ gave more than a kiss. He gave his beauty. He gave more than a visit. He paid for our mistakes. And he took more than a minute. He took away our sin. That is this wonderful news that needs to go out into a lost world without God with the power of a life that's on fire with the excitement and celebration of what it means to know Jesus Christ.